Hello and welcome back to another episode of Wonder Woman. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified for our future videos. Let's begin. Do you remember how many times you were held, kissed and cuddled when you were a child? Probably countless times that you're not able to remember each of them. Not for this kid who was born with severe combined immunodeficiency, a disease that only affects boys. This episode is about a heartbreaking story of a boy who lived in a bubble his whole life. For most of us, living in a bubble means living a sheltered life. But for David, a young boy from Texas, it meant living in a plastic bubble. Nicknamed Bubble Boy, David was born on September 21, 1971 at the Texas Children's Hospital in Houston. After 20 seconds of exposure to the world, he was placed in a plastic isolator bubble. David wasn't the first child in the family to be born with severe combined immunodeficiency. Carol Ann and David Vetter's first son died in the infancy of the disease. After Carol learned she was to conceive another boy, doctors told her that there's a chance that her unborn child would have the same disease. The Vetters refused an offer to abort their child. They had hoped that David might outgrow the disease by age 2, but he ended up spending his entire life in the isolator containment centers, which was designed by NASA engineers. The question, is it ethical to raise a child in a bubble, was raised after staff members of the hospital learned about David's case. They agreed that it was. He wasn't able to leave his isolator bubble until he was 6, when NASA, the space agency, designed a special spacesuit for him so he could walk and play outside. To get from the isolator to the spacesuit, David had to crawl through an insulated tunnel. Putting on the spacesuit was a complicated procedure which required helpers to accomplish. Every time David used his suit, helpers had to complete a 24-step pre-excursion hookup and a 28-step suit donning procedure to keep his environment sterile. Although the process of putting on the spacesuit was complicated, it was worth it for both David and his mother, who was able to hold her son in her arms for the first time on July 29. They were careful enough to keep him from the attention in the media, but once when he was 8 or 9, David saw his picture in the newspaper. David wasn't ashamed of his condition. He saw himself as a star that he was. David had school lessons through his bubble and kept up with the rest of the kids his age, and played and fought with his sister just like any little brother. They tried everything to give him a normal life. They involved him in all aspects of their home. They would even let him dress up for Halloween and hand out candies. On his 11th birthday, he asked if he could see the stars, and his family took him out to watch the sky for 20 minutes. Immunologists told them that a potential cure would not be available for another 10 years. But in 1983, doctors found a way to treat his immune disorder. David's sister donated her marrow, though not a perfect match. 4 months after receiving the bone marrow transfusion from his sister, David died from lymphoma, a cancer later determined to have been introduced to his system by the Epstein-Barr virus. Shortly after his death, the Texas Children's Allergy and Immunology Clinic opened the David Center, dedicated to research, diagnosis, and treatment of immune deficiencies. Now, kids with severe combined immunodeficiency lead normal lives, thanks to the therapy made possible in part by David's own blood cells. Most of the children who received this experimental therapy 9 years ago are now living their full lives. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to smash that like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified whenever we upload new videos. Until next time, bye!